All right, it's going to be an exciting morning. Normally I was only going to give a presentation, but last week they asked me to be chairman, so very exciting, especially with all the important speakers and experts coming here today. So you're going to learn a lot about vertical farming, I can tell you that. I'm not a religious man, but I like religion. And in the Bible somewhere, I don't know where it says, without vision, humanity will perish. It's a very dark thing, but if you turn it around, it says, with vision, humanity can thrive, which basically means humanity, we have to listen to the visionaries. And the next speaker, the first keynote speaker, Dickson Despommier, is one of those people. He brought vision to technology called vertical farming. And because he brought the vision, he made the industry boom. And 15 years ago, vertical farming was not existent. Since Dickson Despommier, vertical farming has boomed. It has been an amazing experience, and in those, I've been only in the industry 5 years. I've seen it evolve. It has expanded exponentially, and it's amazing what has happened. And I'm going to give the word to Dickson Despommier. I would like you to listen very carefully to him, because if we listen to him very well, we're going to thrive as a community, as a humanity. Dickson.
Thank you, Zach. Thank you all for coming. Thank you, Marco, and thank you, Aurora, for inviting me. I always love coming to Italy because the first thing you do when you get off the airplane is wonder where you're going to eat. And you look forward with anticipation because the food is so good in Italy and so beautiful that you can go from the north to the south and find beautiful food everywhere you go. So that says what Italy is. It's about food, it's about people, it's about getting together, it's about sharing your lives with people. So food is how we share our lives, basically. So we're going to talk about how to bring food to the city and why it's important to make a city mimic an ecosystem. How does life look like outside the city, in the wild? How does it function? Because that's where we came from. How can we bring that idea to the city to make the city behave in the same way using technology and creativity? And that's where vertical farming, I think, has a place. So a big question is, what will the city of the future look like? Can you imagine being 100 years ago and imagining what Paris or London or New York or Moscow or Bangkok, what would they look like 100 years from where you live? And the answer was you couldn't tell. Why? Because of so much technology that is advanced and so much demands of the people for transportation, energy use, food, water. All of these things play a big role in how you live. When you go on vacation, where do you go? You go to places that look like a little bit like where you live, but are different, so that you can expand your horizon, right? So we're very interested in what the future city looks like because it has to behave in a different way than it behaves now. Today, cities behave like parasites. We have to make cities behave like symbionts, like friends, not enemies. And we have lots of groups working on this: IBM, Siemens, Philips, MIT, all these wonderful places that have lots of creative people are trying to invent the city again to make it more user-friendly. They come up with complicated diagrams like this that nobody understands. Even the people who made the diagrams don't understand the diagrams. So a different question is, instead of saying, what will the city look like in 100 years from now? What would you like the city to look like 100 years from now? What would you like it to look like? What would you like it? Everybody here would give a different answer, but a friendly answer to them. You would give the answer based on how your family behaves in that city. How about your wife? How about your children? How about your relatives? What does that city look like to you? And we have choices. Every one of us has a choice. We can make the city look like we want, or we can sit by and allow the city to look like whoever else wants it to look this way. The politicians, the planners, the mayor. Crazy, right? Why should we leave that up to them? They're just one person or two people. We're an entire population. So why shouldn't we control where we live? And I think that's what you see happening now with urban agriculture taking the lead. We see creative designs as to how the work should flow in order to make the city of the future behave more friendly to people. This is not one of your more friendly cities. Las Vegas, Nevada is a very cold vacation spot for people who have lots of money and who want to go to Las Vegas with lots of money and leave Las Vegas with less than lots of money. But, interestingly enough, it's in the middle of a desert. And so this city recently has announced it no longer needs to burn fossil fuel to make energy. It's off the grid. That's amazing. This is a city that's not well known for its friendliness. But in this case, it's very friendly to the environment. It uses solar cells and solar farms to make energy. Here's another amazing device. Solar panels used to be not transparent. Here's a transparent solar panel. You can make windows out of them. You can make an entire city's worth of windows in buildings, and the windows are also solar panels. But you can see right through them. How remarkable, how amazing. Denmark has announced it's 80% wind energy free, and it generates so much energy that it can export it to places like Sweden and Norway. That's amazing. A little country, Costa Rica, off the grid. Wind power, solar power, game over. No pollution. Friendlier cities already, even though that's not why they did it. That's what happens. That's an unintended consequence that's good. Wired magazine recently listed its top cities. Los Angeles. Are you kidding me? Los Angeles? I know what that city looks like. It's not a great city in terms of friendly behavior, but it's doing things to conserve water, energy, electricity. Shanghai, Medellin, Eindhoven, Mecca, Nairobi, San Francisco, and Dubai all have done something to make life more livable in those cities. But they didn't all do all of it. Each one did something different. This gentleman here will save the world. This is a house. The roof looks like an ordinary house, but each one of those shingles is a solar panel. That's amazing. This is an engineer at Philips who recently made an LED light go from 28% efficient to 68% efficient. One day, the world changed in a single day. That's amazing. Here's a map that you can go to, and you can see how these cities are doing. All of these cities are tied into 20 different metrics. Energy, food, water, transportation, education, all of these things are built into this system, and you can check to see which cities are behaving good. So where does that leave us? We are natural people. We came from a single place on the planet. We came from Africa. We came from the Serengeti plains of Africa. We arose 200,000 years ago, and we spread out all over the world. That's what we did. And our genetics says that's what we did, so I guess we have to believe it. So we are natural people living in a world which we create. That's nothing new. Everybody agrees with that. So what is the difference between our world and the world we came from? And the big difference is that the natural world produces plants that then feed the grazers, that then feed the carnivores. We have no plants. We have lots of vegans, and we have lots of meat eaters. They don't eat the vegans, by the way. But we need to add plants to this formula to make it compatible with the natural model. And that's where urban farming comes in. So how do we know how to do this? All we have to do is study nature. Study nature. Become an ecologist. Now, that's not your job. That job has already been done. It took about 100 years of study to figure out how nature behaves, but now we know. So let's apply that knowledge to our own lives, and that's what I'm saying. We take all of the characteristics of nature, resiliency, redundant systems, biodiverse, balanced, and sustainable, and we apply them to the built environment for urban food production, water use and reuse, renewable energy, mass transportation, and waste to energy. All of those systems can be modeled after natural systems. And that's our job, is to make sure that happens. Because when it does, we become efficient, just like nature. So the vertical farm represents the food part. Urban agriculture in general represents the food part, and obviously that's why you're here. And we can make food easily using 3 technologies. That's all we need. And of course, once this idea started, it was impossible to stop. I once gave a talk to, imagine yourselves now as 6th graders, maybe you're 12 to 14 years old, and I gave this talk, and everybody then wrote a letter because the teacher said, now you have to write a letter to say thank you. So the best letter I got was from one student who said, thank you for your presentation. My mind cannot stop now thinking about vertical farming. You've started a place in my mind I cannot stop. That happens all the time. When you open a window and let people look out, they see what they want to see. But it's a similar vision. That's why everybody's here. So these are not in existence. This is from the German Space Agency. They want to live somewhere else, but to do that, they have to learn how to live here first, that way, and then take it with them. These are complicated designs, some of them. Some of them are quite beautiful. None of these are real, but they attract your eye. They make you want to walk inside and see what's going on. All of them are high degrees of productivity from creative, imaginative minds. So, that was then. This is now. That's real. One of the first in Korea. Not a big vertical farm, an experimental vertical farm. I visited it. It's quite remarkable, though. In 2 years, they took the idea and built it. I know you recognize this because it was in Milan. It was running for many, many months. People remarked, what is that building? It's so pretty. Oh, it produces food. And look, it's even beautiful to look at. If you go shopping for food in Japan, you can actually pick it. Take it home and eat it. I call it 1 minute old food. This is a restaurant. Marco and Aurora were generous and took me to a restaurant last night. I had a wonderful meal. Imagine going to a restaurant and the waiter says, what will you have? And you'll say, well, I think I'll have a Caesar salad with some grilled chicken. Oh, you want the Caesar salad? Come, follow me. And they go right to the wall of the restaurant to pick it. Those exist now. They are real. So today, this is where the vertical farms are located throughout the world. In Japan, there are over 200, no, now there are 500. I should have changed this. There are over 500 vertical farms now in Japan. Many places have many more than that. I think China has twice as much, but they're not talking. Soon they will talk. This just opened in Newark, New Jersey. It's 3 miles from where I live. I live in New Jersey. This is a vertical farm in New Jersey, one of the biggest vertical farms. And it makes food for restaurants. This will become the future. This is an experimental vertical farm in Berlin. It's only 1 story tall, but they're trying all their technologies now, and their vision is this. You go to the supermarket, they give you an iPad, you type out all of the things that you want, and as you're doing this, these signals are being sent to each floor of a 20-story building, and they are assembling what you order. So when you finish clicking and saying checkout, and you walk to the checkout counter, it's there for you. Remarkable. Remarkable. They want to make hundreds of these. Imagine thousands, imagine 10,000. Imagine every city with grocery stores that are tailor-made to the cuisines of the neighborhood, not just Italian food or Chinese food or Indian food. Imagine Northern Italian, Middle Italian, Southern Italian. Fantastic. It's not just about food. Sometimes you can make plants make things for you. In this case, they're using a small tobacco plant from Australia, and they're engineering the plant to make insulin, factor 9, a blood clotting factor, and other things too, antibodies that kill off cancer cells that could all be made in plants by genetic engineering. The plants that you grow for food, none of them are engineered, none. They're all very happy to live in a perfect world you have created for them. Just like we're happy here that we don't have to sit outside and listen to this because it's cold outside. So why do we do that to our plants? So in the end, we have to learn to farm smart. Today we're farming not so smart. We plant the crops outside, we throw fertilizer, we throw water, and then we just hope. Why hope? Outdoor farmers can't control anything. Indoor farmers control everything. That's not a choice. I choose control everything. Good, healthy food too. There are teams working night and day to try to make this happen. A friend of mine works at MIT, and this is their version of a container farm. And they want to partner with a very large outlet store called Target. In New York City, Target has department stores everywhere. They want to sell these container farms to individual homes. Universities are working to make this idea more robust. IKEA is producing a home hydroponic system for kids. Look at this little kid. This little kid can supply dinner for their whole family. Well, maybe not dinner, but a large part of it. And they're very proud to say, I grew this myself. And now I eat it, it's delicious. So you want to know more? We have podcasts, we have literature, of course. So here's my finish. It says, when nature is balanced, humanity thrives. Why do we like walking in the woods? Why do we like walking in the mountains? Why do we like walking with nature? Because we feel part of nature, because we are nature. We have to make our cities feel the same way. So my desire is to take ownership for the world. Don't let the politicians take it from us. Don't let the planners take it from us. Demand that they do the right thing. We are in control. We are the majority. Let's make the whole world amazing. Thank you.